Good morning, everyone. In last lecture, we have studied that what is checkpoint. Checkpoint means it is a kind of a mechanism we can use. We are putting a checkpoint, and whatever transaction is done before that checkpoint, they all are reflected into the database, and we need to think for the rest of the transactions. So here in the example, this is a checkpoint and this is a failure. So before this checkpoint, T1 transaction has started, executed and committed. Committed means successful completion of a transaction. So when we can say that the transaction is successfully completed once we are having a commit instruction into the transaction. Okay. So here the transaction T1 is successfully completed. After that checkpoint is there, that means it is also been reflected into the database, and this is the transaction T2. So T2 is started here, it is completed and committed here. Then T3 is started, executed and committed. Then transaction T4, but still T4 is running. Meanwhile, a failure will occur. So what will be the happening? We are going towards the recent or the most nearest checkpoint, which is this TC. And we just want to look at this highlighted part like this, from failure to this checkpoint. Okay. T1 is getting ignored because the updates which we want from the write operation into the transaction that has already been done into the database. So we need to think for just three operation, which is T2, T3 and T4, these three transactions only. T2 and T3 has already successfully completed. That means they are committed. That's why we need to redone. We are again performing the same operation, and T4 is partially completed. It is not fully completed. That's why we are undoing it. Okay. After that, we have seen what is the recovery with concurrent transactions. Like if we are having T0 and T1, so if recovery will happen, then what we need to do? We need to take care the transaction who has committed, those values need to be reflected properly into the database, and those who are getting a failure need to be recovered. If we are having this kind of scheme, the log, which is Ti, Xj, V1, V2, where V1 is the old value, V2 is the new value, and we are going the rollback, transaction rollback, and due to that, the recovery should be possible. So right now, the state of transaction will be like this. A is having currently value 30. After performing these two operations in database, A is having the value 30. So after that, suppose next instruction cannot be performed. So what we can do here is we are getting a rollback instruction by instruction. So first from 30 it will be 20, and from 20 it will be 10. So 10 is the value before the transaction has started. The value of A will be 10, and we are going to get the same value if failure will occur. So database will not get affected due to that. Okay. And then recovery with the concurrent transaction. What are the concurrent transactions? The multiple transactions which execute parallelly, we are calling it as concurrent transactions. So if multiple transactions are running and we know the concept of checkpoints, so if needs to recover them, then we are checking for the most recent checkpoint, and the transaction that was active when the checkpoint is there, like this transaction, or after this, we need to consider only this kind of transaction into the consideration. We are not making worries regarding the previous transaction who has successfully completed before the checkpoint is arrived. Okay. And we are making a log record of checkpoint. That means a list of transactions which are active at the time of checkpoint. So we need to consider only those transactions. Then we have seen that how to do the recovery when we are using this checkpoint. So we need to identify some of the operations which are completed. The transaction who are successfully completed, we are calling it as committed. So we need to redo those transactions, and if they are started, but not committed. That means partially completed. For them, we are doing undo. So we are making a list of redo and undo, which is initializing with the empty one. And then we are adding the transaction which needs redo and the transaction which needs undo operation. And undo means incomplete transaction which is not having commit, and redo means finished transaction who are having commit. Then we have seen this example. There are two different transactions, TI and TJ. Here TI is not committed, but TJ is committed. So value should be from 10 to 30, and this should be reflected into the database properly. But meanwhile, if failure will be occur, then what we need to do is first we are doing the undo operation. That means previously the value will be 10. It will be changed with 20 with the help of the first instruction, this. After that, suppose transaction will getting some problem and failure will occur. This is from TJ. So TJ's value should be valid because it is committed, successfully completed, but this needs to be undo. That means this 20 value will be undo to the 10 value. So it should be proper in the nature. The committed transaction should be reflected into the database. Then we have seen this example of recovery. We are having a checkpoint here and which transaction needs to be redo and undo. We have seen that. Then if we are having a failure with loss of non-volatile storage, then what we can do and how to recover it. We have seen till this in yesterday's lecture. Today we are going to start a new topic which is shadow paging. Okay, if you remember, previously we have done the same topic with the help of shadow copy at the starting of this chapter. If you remember, we have talked about that we are having two copies. Okay, so suppose this is the old copy and this is a new copy. And database will be pointing out to this old copy right now. Suppose database is pointing out to this copy right now. So once all the operations will be performed on this copy and the transaction is successfully completed, that means the transaction is having the commit instruction inside it. So at the end, this will be copied to this new, or else the database will be having the pointer towards this new, because the values which we want, it is copied to this shadow page. And at that time we have studied it is a shadow copy. Now we are talking about the page and we are having the concept shadow paging. At that time we are just dealing with some fixed amount of blocks, but right now we are dealing with the page. If we are having a disk here and these are all the different kind of pages, so we are talking about this page. This is page number 1, 2, 3, 4. In each and every page there are multiple way of storing the data. There are fixed amount of memory is allocated. So we are dealing with the pages now. Okay. In shadow paging, we are dealing with two different pages. Instead of making a log-based recovery, we are dealing with a new type which is a shadow copy. So right now from the database, we are having two different pages. The one page we are calling it as current page table, and this is called shadow page. Okay, we are having these two different pages. Whenever we are starting the transaction, suppose this transaction is started like transaction T1. At this time, both of this current as well as shadow, this both are initially identical. Identical means they are following the same way. They are equals to, they are just like similar to each other, they are identical. Suppose this is the current page table and this is a shadow page table. Okay, and this is the main memory right now. Identical means that suppose this block will be pointing out to the first page. So this also will be pointing out to this. Suppose this will be pointing out here, then also the same way this is also pointing out to this. And this will be pointing out here. This is also pointing out here. This is called identical. So initially when the transaction is getting started, then both these pages, current page table and shadow page, both of them are identical in the nature. They are not affected, and we know that before the transaction, the database is already into the consistent state. Okay. So once we are having any of the write operation in this transaction, suppose these are the read operations, acquiring the lock and all of that. After that, suppose here we are having a write operation on data item A. And this block's value will get modified here. Okay. And now it will be suppose pointing out here, instead of this, so we are not making a change into the shadow page table, because whenever we are having any of the write operation, until the transaction is not committed, that means it is not successfully completed, till then, whatever the instructions we are having right, we are just making an updation on the current page table only. And once we are having a commit instruction, then we are copying the data which are available into the current page table into the shadow page table. And we are calling this, either we can copy the data into this, or else directly we are calling this as a new page table, new shadow page table. So, and meanwhile, if failure will occur, then we are having this copy. So the previous transaction, the previous database consistent state is already reserved. So we are not having worry regarding the database consistency. And if this transaction is successfully completed or committed, that means the database is again now in the consistent state, and we can copy the data into the shadow page. So we are making two copies, and one copy is having the write operation, that means ongoing transaction value updation will be done in the one copy. Once it is successfully completed, it will be copied into the other one, or else the rest one copy, shadow page, which we are calling it, it is having the previous database state. So it doesn't affect. Okay, so the database is partitioned into the number of fixed length block, and we are calling it as a pages. So suppose this is our database, and it will be having some prefixed size. This is a fixed length, like this can store up to suppose 4096 bits, and we are calling it as a page 1. Then this is a page 2, page 3, likewise. Okay, all of them are having a similar kind of a data storage memory. So the database, entire database is partitioned into some number of fixed length blocks. We are calling this block as a page. This is a page 1, page 2, likewise. And we are using a page table for this purpose, because page table is having the reference like which page. If you are using an index in your regular book, like chapter 1, it is started from this page number, chapter 2, likewise. So we are having a page table which has the information regarding how much pages are there and which page need to be accessed as per the requirement. So the page table suppose is having an n entries. So total there are n entries, one for each database page. Each entry contains a pointer to page on the disk. Suppose this is our disk. So each page is having one pointer towards this disk. Disk is also have a partition. So each of this is being with the disk. Okay. The first entry contains a pointer to the first page of the database, and the second entry points to second page, and so on. So for each and every page, we are having a different database entry. As you can see in the screen, this is a page table. I'm highlighting this. This is a page table, and this is the pages on the disk. So this each and every page is having a fixed number of memory storage, and those are pointing out the disk block with the help of pointer. Now, the key idea behind this shadow paging technique is to maintain the two page tables during the lifetime of a transaction. The one is current page table and the other one is shadow page table. So right now, once the transaction is getting started, we are dealing with two different pages. The one is current page table and the shadow page table, and page table will looks like this. They are having a different page and they are connected with the disk. When the transaction is getting started, the both page tables are identical in the nature. The shadow page table is never changed over the duration of the transaction. That means, suppose we are dealing here with this two. This is a current page table. This is a shadow page table, identical both in the nature in the initial phase of a transaction, like transaction started, and this shadow page table will not change. Whatever is the previous status, it will not getting changed. But the current page table may be changed when a transaction will perform a write operation. So if in the transaction we are having a write operation, that means we need to modify or update the value of a data item. At that time, the current page table will be changed. All input and output operation uses the current page table to locate the database pages on the disk. Suppose here we are having a disk. So input and output, like this is an output, this is an input. So for that, it will deals with the current page table only, because current page table here working as a local variable kind of thing. So the updates which are made during the transaction's lifespan, it will be reflected into this current page table only. So whatever changes we need to make into this, whatever like value, if we are reading the value of data item A, then we are writing it. So for reading and for updating, whatever changes we are going to make, we are doing in the disk with the help of current page table only. Suppose that the transaction, suppose a transaction Tj, it wants to perform a write X operation. That means it wants to write on a data item X, and this X will resides on the ith page. Suppose we are having this page table, and at this ith page, this is 1, 2, suppose here, this is the ith page, which I am highlighting. Here, the data value X, data item X is stored in this ith page. Then how it will be performing this operation? The first point, if the ith page in which the X data item is residing is not already in the main memory, then will issue the input X. Suppose this data is not available into the main memory. So we know that in main memory and disk, we are having input and output operation. So we are using input so that it will be in the main memory while the processing can be happen. So we are making a input X, will issue this operation input X to take that data item into the main memory. Second point, if this is the write operation, write first performed on the ith page by this transaction. Suppose this transaction Tj is performing the write operation on this ith page first time, then the system modifies the current page table like this. Current page table means wherever the changes will be actually doing. This is the current page table which are having a different page 1, 2, 3 up to n. So first it will find an unused page on the disk. First it will be, suppose this is a disk, then it will be pointing out different pages like the pointer, this is 1, 2, likewise. So first it will identify a unused page in the disk. Suppose this is the unused page. Then it deletes the page found in this step, which is a 2A, from the list of free pages. We are having two different way to identify like free pages and occupied pages or used pages. So till now, this is a free page. Suppose whatever we are finding here, I'm pointing out with the different ink. This blue one, this is a free point and it is a page number, suppose 3. So previously it will be free page, but now we are going to delete this from the free page and we are making the entry into the occupied page. It modifies the current page table. Suppose we want to store the data item, we want to perform it here. So it will change the pointer, which is pointing out to that free page, which we have just found in the step number 2A. So it modifies the current page table so that the ith entry, here whatever we are having, the ith entry points to the page which is found free into the step A, which is unused. And after that, once we are getting the free value, after that we'll assign the value. Here it is written xj because transaction tj, when it made the changes into the data variable x, then we are calling it as xj. So the value which is updated by transaction tj, we are calling it as xj. It needs to be assigned into the buffer page. This is how we'll made the changes whenever write operation will be there. So first I will find that which one is the unused space. Once we are getting the unused space, we are just deleting the entry from that particular block or page from the free space and we are occupying it and updated value will be copied to that. This is how we'll do the write operation into this page system. Suppose this is a shadow page table, this is a current page table. So previously these two are identical. Whatever blocks this shadow page table will be pointing, the similar way the current page table will be pointing. But once we are having the write operation in the transaction, then the current page table is the only one who will make the changes into this disk. This is a disk. Okay, so the current page table will be making the changes, but shadow page table will be remain as it is. The shadow page approach to recovery is to store the shadow page table in a non-volatile storage so that the state of the database prior to the execution of the transaction can be recovered in the event of a crash or a transaction abort. So suppose a transaction will get failed or it will be aborted or system crash, that can be happen. Then what we are doing, this shadow page which we are having as a copy will store it into the non-volatile storage because there is a less chances of information loss into the non-volatile storage. When the transaction commits, then the system will write the current page table to non-volatile storage. If the transaction is successfully completed, at that time, whatever changes which we have made into this current page table, we need to store the same thing into the non-volatile storage too. The current page table then becomes the new shadow page and the next transaction is allowed to begin the execution. That means previously we are having this as a current page table, we are having the disk and here it is a shadow page. So whatever changes we are making, this shadow page will be already stored into the non-volatile storage and whatever changes we are making in this current page table, so we need to also store it into the non-volatile storage. That means they are going to copy into this shadow page table. And this current page table will become a new shadow page table. That means either we are just going to copy it or we are calling this page in database. Suppose we are calling this as a shadow page in database pointer. So we are pointing this one as a new shadow page table and the next transaction will be started. Meanwhile, suppose the failure will occur, then what will happen? The entire transaction is not successfully completed. So we are having this copy where the database state previously is in the consistent state. So if it is committed, then there will be two possibilities. You can make this as a new shadow page table. It is important that the shadow page table be stored in non-volatile storage. We know that because previously we have seen the same thing. Shadow page table, it should be stored in the non-volatile storage. But why? Because it provides the only means of locating databasing page. Because we are having a disk where the data is already there And this page table is just having the index or the pointer which is pointing towards the disk. So we need to store them. Otherwise, if it is lost, then we are having the data, but it is not pointing. So we are having value, suppose A equals to 10, B equals to 20. The value is there, but whenever any transaction wants to refer, we didn't know that where the value is actually residing. So for that, we need to store it into the non-volatile storage. So the data loss will not be done. And the current page table may be kept in the main memory, because we need to do the processing so that the current page table, which are having the write operation and the modification, we are going to store it into the volatile storage, and volatile storage can be main memory or like RAM, like that. So we need to store it into the main memory. To commit a transaction, whenever we are going to commit any of the transaction, we must do the following things. The first one is ensures that the all buffer pages in the main memory that have been changed by the transactions are output to the disk. So suppose this is a current page table, this is a disk. So whatever we are making the write operation, the changes are available here in the current page table. So we need to output. Output means this data will be copied into the disk. So we need to output this buffer. Buffer means wherever the processing has been done. It is not the permanent storage. So we are doing it in the local variables, and we need to reflect it into the database. So once we are having a commit, then this should be done. Output of the current page table to disk. Note that we must not override the shadow page table, since we may need it for the recovery from the cache. So what we are doing it, whatever changes we have made it, we are just going to reflect it into the disk, and we are calling this as a new shadow page table. And database will pointing as a shadow page, which are having the copied value to this pointer, and the shadow page which we have previously created, which is identical and do not have any changes, we are using it if recovery we need it from a failure of the transaction. So it will be remain identical, it will not getting modified. The changes whatever current page table has made, we are just going to reflect it into the disk with the help of output command or the operation. Output the disk address of the current page table to the fixed location in a stable storage containing the address of the shadow page table. This action overwrites the address of the old shadow page table. So we need to change the address, we need to change the pointer. Now this is having the updated value. Therefore, the current page table, now it will become the new shadow page table, and transaction is getting committed. Okay. So shadow page table, whenever this question will ask in GTU, we need to write that you need to draw this figure, both this figure. The first figure will so right, we'll just see. This is the second, where shadow page table and current page table will be there, and they both are dealing with the disk. And the first one, which is this, what is the page table? And the page table will be pointing towards the disk. So in shadow page table, we are dealing with two different types. The one is current page table and the other one is shadow page table. Current page table and shadow page table, at the starting of the transaction, they both are identical into the nature, and whatever the write operation transaction can have, accordingly the modification will done only into the current page table. Shadow will not get affected. Once we are having the commit instruction, we need to ensure that some of the transaction has committed, so the buffer that whatever value we have updated, we need to put it into the disk, and that current page table needs to be called as a new shadow page table, and shadow page table will be remain as it is for the recovery purpose. So if any time whenever a failure will occur, so we are having the previous consistent state of the database, from that the values can be retrieved. Okay. Do anyone have any query in this topic? Do anyone have any query in this topic quickly? Yes or no? Kushal, Kirtan, Milan, Pearl, Parth, Prithvi, Tuti. Any queries? Okay. Okay, some of the questions I'm just showing you, this is from the GTU from this unit. So you can take it as a reference. Okay, so explain acid properties of transaction, define commit, rollback, and save point. Write a short note on two-phase commit protocol, grant and revoke, log-based recovery method, conflict and view serializability. What is a recoverable schedule? Shared lock and exclusive lock, what is the difference between them? Various states of the transaction, immediate database modification technique. Here it can also ask deferred database modification because there are two types of approaches. What is a deadlock? Deadlock is an important one, and explain deadlock with the suitable example. These all are the questions till now which has been asked in the GTU. Okay, so this Saturday you are having an exam. So do anyone have any query in this, any of the chapters? We are done with the unit number 7. In your DBMS mid-semester exam syllabus, you are having unit 1, 2, 3 and 7 and practical number 1, 2 and 3. This is the syllabus for DBMS in the mid-semester exam 1.